And is that working? Yep. Okay, that's good. Okay, so the mic levels are looking a bit good. The camera is just about perfectly in frame. Maybe I'll put it back up a little bit just in case it doesn't quite work out. I'll just have my cursor hovering over just a little bit. So, let's just try just hovering that over there. Let's see. But hello, welcome. So we've got effectively we got Husky from space. Thank you for your. I got Pit. I got pit tickets to the Harry Husky stream. We're not really ticketed as such. But we got unexpected IRL. In a sense, yeah, this was a little bit of a spontaneous one. I did say that this last night that this was probably something that I was going to end up doing. But here we are, and also if the microphone picks up any of the alert sounds, I'll just turn that down just so it doesn't pick that up. So yeah, hello and welcome. So this is a bit of a different thing I'm doing on Twitch. I wanted to do one of these for quite a while, but I thought while I'm getting there's a few bits I needed to get done. But show the maybe later on. I see where. Oh yeah, we're going straight to that. Can you see them in? I don't think. Are they even in shot where I'm sat down? But maybe later on in a little bit if demand ends up being a bit high. But also I'm a bit I don't know how well the microphone is going to pick up. I have turned the gain up a bit high. I'll move that back a bit because it's redlining a little bit. But actually, how is the audio? Is it fine? Because I think if I face away from the microphone, so is it clearer if I'm facing towards it? And is there a difference in audio quality when I'm facing away from it? But either way, do let me know. And if there's anything you do want to fire away, because I'm very curious. You sound quite clear from someone that's okay, so that's good. But yeah, I just thought when I said during my stream last night when I was carrying on with Spyro, sounds great, no difference somehow. Okay, that's brilliant. So we're in good hands. So in terms of what I was saying in my Spyro stream last night, I said that there was something very different that I would be doing. But this is it. So I have no idea how this stream is going to go down because the last time I actually did one of these on Twitch was actually 2021, so 5 years ago was the last time I did anything like that. I've only ever done it on YouTube because I just think that doing things like this on YouTube tend to sort of work out a bit better on my part. But considering I've not done one of these on Twitch for a while, I wanted to see how this plays out. I have no idea how it's going to go down, and all might happen. So I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not so much as has the self-confidence when I've been doing it on YouTube, given how long I've been doing it on YouTube for now. But given that Twitch can be an entirely different audience, I am very curious to see how this one is going to go down. But I'm glad the audio is fine. The camera is working okay. But let's see. Don't be weird. Just was you cute. You're cute as heck. Oh, thank you so much. Orcas. Is that right? Anyway, just let me get Orca. It's like there's a double A in there. So is it just Orca or is it Orca? Like a little bit more emphasis on the there. But I kind of wanted to take this opportunity to sort of help interact with my audience a lot more. So, if there's anything you do want to fire away, because I think without you guys, this stream is going to be absolutely nothing. But I do appreciate you all for turning up and showing your support. But I've had I thought I'd start off with I have been getting a few bits of content done around the house, especially with the new fit. If you have been I didn't think to put it in the browser on Meld actually, but I was doing a photo shoot with the outfit that I'm trying on for the first time. I won't stand up and show it in full just yet. Maybe that will be for later on when a further audience does come in. So So what to talk about? So it's just all okay. Do you stream more on Twitch or YouTube? So YouTube, it varies, because the only reason why I've ever streamed on Twitch is because when I stream on YouTube, it's only typically just to celebrate the anniversary of me looking like this, because it was April the 30th, 2020, which was the very first day I ended up being a big dog with blue hair for the very first time. So I did do a bit of streams every now and then. For example, Halloween streams I have done in the past. I have done some DJ live streams, which tends to work out a bit on YouTube on favour, purely because Twitch is very funny with copyright issues. So DJ streams for me, as much as I'd like to do it on Twitch, I can't. Zuko, hello. I was hoping you'd show up. Good boy. So also, how is the new? What is it? It's been a few weeks since then. So there's a few things. It's there's a lot to it that's actually a huge improvement from the previous one that I had. I won't go into detail about it too much, but there is I do need to connect with the maker, because I had to get a couple of videos showing a few issues that I've been having with the body at the moment. But as soon as maybe some point tomorrow, I will be getting back into contact with them to explain what's happened, because I did a couple of videos explaining the issues that I was having. So hopefully that can be resolved. But other than that, it's actually been really good. Let's just see. So I'm playing with friends, so I won't be able to check the stream as much as they. Okay. I mean, it's in fairness, I don't exactly know how this one is going to go down. But it's just it's more of an experimental thing than anything, because I've not done one of these on Twitch in a very, very long time. In fact, this is only my second time doing a just chatting stream like this. Will you do? Yeah. Maybe that's there is, so regular gaming, maybe not, because my pauses aren't don't deal well with the controls. However, there is one thing. Hello to hello to Boomer. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're not actually late. You're actually made perfect timing. So we're not even 20 minutes into the stream, so you're all good for timing. The thing is, in terms of gaming streams, when looking like this, I do want to do that. There's one type of stream I really, really want to do, and that is dancing stage. Just me. Just imagine that, a big blue head dog just doing dance stage. Or if you're probably in North America, Dance Dance Revolution, this is probably best known as, because of trademark and copyright issues that resulted in Dance Dance Revolution being called Dancing Stage in most parts of Europe. So, oh Lord, he flew for the... Indeed, I am Tanuko. Hello. So, OMG, yay, that sounds exciting. Yeah, so that's on the table. But at the moment, the thing that's been stopping me from doing that is having a reliable output, because there's two ways I could do it. I could do it on the PS3, but the trouble is I have not been able to get a dance pad to work with it, and there have been dance pads that work with the PS3, but they're incredibly rare to get hold of now, because one that's specifically made, I was looking at second hand on sites like eBay, and it's well over £100. I was like, I am not paying that much. So I think the PS3 for Dancing Stage is going to be off the table. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to look into a HDMI adapter for the PS1. I did look into them previously. However, I wasn't quite a fan of the ones that you had to power off by USB in order to run them, because it meant having to either use a power bank or having more cabling to plug into another power source. So there are apparently HDMI adapters you can use on a PS1 where you don't have to have like an additional power source. So as soon as I know something that actually works, at some point I do want to do Dancing Stage streams / videos, because I thought I may as well make a video out of it while I'm in there. So also, if Vacations goes ahead, would you like to share in terms of I think I'm already in talks with people, but Furcation I am a little bit tentative on, just because of other events that are close to my heart at the time. But also, I understand with Furcation there are some controversies and heightened feelings surrounding those who attend the events, who are staff the event, and those who don't attend the events, which I completely understand their reasons for. So Furcation, I'm a little bit tentative. However, if I do it, I am already in talks with people to share a Chillstream caravan with. But the thing I found out with Furcation is that well, I can't really speak much for John Fowler's part. In fact, I did actually stay in a silver caravan at the Coombe Martin holiday park, and it was actually pretty decent. Now, it says, I'm going to be back in a few minutes because I'm going to be doing a bit of No Man's Sky. Oh, have fun with that, Boomer. But the thing is, with Furcation, I do tend to try and go for the highest grade sort of accommodation as possible, because most of the people who tend to attend Furcation tend to go for the cheaper ones. So the higher the value of the and the grade of the accommodation I tend to go for, the more chances I've got. Especially with the lottery system in 2023, I got straight in and had no issues. But with, I don't know if I should probably mention the name, Mr. Fancy. it's actually not that expensive in terms of some other accommodations we could talk about, like Hilton Executives. I won't go there for now. But the thing with a particular, because where Furcation went in 2024, I don't even want to say the name of the and please don't drop it in the chat. I'm not willing to say the name of the holiday park or the company that runs it, but let's just say a lot went wrong on their part. Yeah, we don't talk about that. Exactly, Space. In fact, what's your preferred name, Husky, for Space? Is it Space? Are you okay with just being called Space, or is there another name you would prefer to go by? But with this particular holiday park, let me tell you this. You may just call me Husky. Okay, so I'll that. Well, mind you, I'm a Husky. You're a Husky, so that might lead to a bit of confusion in a sense. I'll respect that though. But with the holiday park where Furcation went to in 2024, I'm not even joking when I say this. I have done countless. In fact, I've never really counted Furcation as a convention, because Furcation are trying to do something very different to your standard convention experience. So the fact that it's in a holiday park, there are a lot of things that Furcation does too that your average convention doesn't, and they don't tend to do things that most conventions tend to do. So I've never ever classed Furcation as a, because despite people calling it a convention, and some staff on board may refer to it as a convention, I don't choose to call it a convention, because it's not the sort of thing that the events organisers and the company owners at the time, that's not what they were going for. So it's are they trying to be different? But it's not so much that it does actually work, because demand for the event is high. The problem is, let's see, I felt that the venue for 2024 had it in for us. From the start, the staff came across as a bit rude. There was, bear with me on that, because I will get to that. But the thing I was going to say is, when you combine stuff like my conventions, Pawsome, the Wetherby Confuzzled, Pawsome, ScotiaCon, just for the weekend, which I do greatly miss, by the way. If you combine the conventions I've done and Furcation, so with that keeping in mind, so if I consider something to be a major furry event, if you get a badge and a lanyard, that's what I class as a major furry event. So when you combine the conventions I've done and the Furcations I've done, Furcation was my 21st major furry event, and that's across the span of that was getting close to 9 years at the time, considering my first one was March 2016. But the thing is, at that particular venue, that was, and I'm not even exaggerating, that was the absolute worst sleep I have ever had at any major furry event that I have ever done. And you want to give us some perspective as how bad of the sleep that I had. most at conventions and previous vacations, I would wake up at a very decent time, like around about like 9 a.m. on average, just so I could make it in time for breakfast. With vacation, on the other hand, on average, I was waking up about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And normally, if I'm sat here at home, that's a regular thing. But I lost my metazapine, which helps with my anxiety disorders. It helps me with sleeping at night. But I lost that. I had no idea where it went, so I had to go throughout the whole event without it. And it's still to this day. It's still after the event. I had no idea where it ended up. But the beds and mattresses were absolutely horrific. We ended up being in a silver caravan, and the mattresses, I'm not even joking, they were made for young. It was a 2 bedroom. Thankfully, I was the only one in the room, so I was able to make the most of the spacing. But the mattresses weren't designed with adults in mind, and I'll just leave it at that because the mattresses were, I'm not even joking, probably about 3 inches 3 inches thick, and underneath were just wooden slats. And when I laid down on that bed, you could feel every single one of them. It was just so, it wasn't painful, but it was just deeply unpleasant. So that really affected my sleep. I was struggling to sleep that night. I was struggling to sleep on most nights throughout the event. And because of how bad, in terms of overall comfort, and I'm not even joking, because of how, if you were at Furcation that year, you know how windy it was, and the storms that occurred. I could feel the walls moving in my caravan. That's how bad it was. I couldn't sleep because I could feel the caravan shaking. I could feel the walls moving. It was bad. So you're better off using your luggage as a mattress at that point. The trouble is, maybe. But one of the things I've also been, have you ever seen one of those dog beds specifically for adults to sleep in? Just in case I end up in that situation again, I am buying one of those specifically for if I do Furcation, and if I end up in accommodation like that, and if I end up on a mattress that's like that, because I've heard people who have slept in those beds, and they actually have a dog bed photo shoot when, that's but yeah, also in terms of, I'll tell you what I think was the perfect manifestation. Because 2024 was actually my first ever Furcation where I did early arrival, because I never really bothered with early arrival beforehand because of how close in proximity it was to me. But this time round, because I don't know what it was, because I could have not done it given how close I am to it, but because of the fact that everybody else in my accommodation was doing it, and I saw how cheap it was with the early arrival, I thought, you know what, let's do it. Let's do early arrival and see what happens from there. So on early arrival night, within about half an hour into the first DJ set of practically the event, the fire alarms went off, because what the venue forgot to do was isolate the detectors and set the alarm into a pre-alarm setting. And there's one other venue that's also doing that to this day, but unlike that one, we still have to we still have to deal with that venue. But yeah, that for me was a manifestation of what was to come, and I could unload the countless issues we had with the venue in terms of whether it be the staff, the caravan. I mean, the funniest thing for me was seeing was like if you know how much of a meme this was, like the more than 10 people in a caravan. Let me tell you this. That rule is justifiable, but in terms of making a meme out of it, I did find it sort of hilarious and concerning at the same time, because I was thinking if people decided to take that as a personal challenge, because some of those caravans, I stayed in one of the silver caravan, and let me tell you, those caravans are completely incapable of taking 10 people at a time. It's just, because I remember, I could feel the walls moving, I could feel the caravan shaking in the wind while I was sleeping, and while there were only 3 people in there, and they were barely moving. So imagine the sort of shit that would go down if you actually had more than 10 people in the caravan. It would just be an absolute carnage. It was like, some of those caravans were like that episode. It's funny you say that, because somewhere out there. I can't quite search for it because of how awkward my paws are with computers. So I do have a this stylus, but the trouble is this MacBook Pro which I'm using is a bit unresponsive to styluses. So I could grab it up and show it to you. Exactly like what I said. So, but I did use that specific moment in Father Ted as a reference to what would probably happen if you had more than 10 people in those caravan. And I was showing that to some of the staff at Vocation as well, like especially those who are on welfare, and they agreed. Yeah, this is the sort of thing that would probably happen if you pushed the limit in those caravans. But I tell you what, one massive issue I also had with that venue was the lighting. Now let me tell you, because of how dark it was, the lighting was absolutely horrendous. There was no LED lighting in there whatsoever. It was like those. I'm trying to. What are those? What were those bulbs that street lamp? The name is. I can think of the name in mind. But you know those lamps and bulbs that give this sort of orange, slightly less fluorescent glow to them. That's what I had on my caravan. Most of the other caravans had that as well, and all the halogen. Sodium, that was it. So if you imagine the sort of bulbs that sodium street lamps had at the time, that was practically what we had to deal with at Furcation that year. So walking back to my caravan, thankfully it wasn't that much of a walk, but I really felt for anyone who had to walk back to their caravan with this severe lack of lighting. But yeah, sodium lamps. That was what I was trying to think of. And when it got further, there was also a lot of issues that people were pointing out with the venue. For example, like the ceiling was leaking. Some of the fire extinguishers were out of date. Some of the carbon monoxide detectors in the caravan were out of date. Like, there was so much going on. It was, I mean, because people were comparing this event to Rainforest, and I can kind of see the similarities, but the thing to bear in mind is, Rainforest was pretty much a disaster caused by just its attendees. When it comes to Furcation, okay, there was most of it, I would say, was on the company's part, which I will not name, and I'm just hoping at some point during the stream it slips out, but I will not mention the company name just for the sake of it. But if you know, you know, and it's probably easily available out there, this information in terms of the company, but just for the sake of things, just don't drop it in the chat. The thing about that is that there was a lot that went wrong on their part, and as the event got further and further closer to the end, just the atmosphere around the venue was very weird. And so much so, because of the amount of stuff that was going on, like there was also the fear that we could probably get kicked out the night before. So those who were doing late departure were there was a possibility, or there was something from what was going around, that people were saying that there was a chance that that they could kick out those early. So if you were doing late departure, you would have to check out the day beforehand. That you were supposed to initially check out. So some people ended up leaving because of that alone, and some ended up having to leave because of the storm and the weather, because they didn't want to get trapped. Because when I was driving back, there were so many roads that were closed. There was so many diversions I had to take, and I ended up having to reverse. Because I went through countless country lanes, like lanes that I didn't have to go through. So many other people did, and it was just a nightmare trying to get back home. And I was, given that everything that was also happening as well was, Furcation staff ended up cancelling the feedback session that was supposed to take place on the Monday, which people say that was, some people reckon that was the wrong thing to do. However, I can completely sympathise with the Furcation staff when it comes to it, because given there was so much shit that was going on at that event, and given everything that was going on in the Telegram chats and on social media, I think most of the staff saw what was going on and thought, I ain't walking out to that. So you know what? I just can't deal with this anymore. Because, in fairness, if I was staff, I wouldn't want to walk out to that either, because it would just be, because if they went through with the feedback session, it would just be chock-a-block full to the brim, and it would absolutely be. I just know that whether you want to give feedback, just whether you want to go to give feedback or whether you are staff taking feedback, it's yeah, I really did feel for the staff. I mean, I kind of wishing they hadn't done it, but I kind of don't blame them for cancelling the feedback session events, because, like I said, the amount of staff that saw what was going on online and thought, you know what, we cannot, we don't have it in us, like physically, mentally, to just walk out to that. Which and hello to Cascade, thank you so much for tuning in. So what, my headpiece, my glasses, or what's on my head is a headpiece? Like maybe look to ponder there. But on Tuesday, when we were checking out, the atmosphere around the event was just, because normally at cons and events I would stick around just for a little bit, but there were still people waiting around the bar, and the venue could have had potential to raking more. Let's see what Dennis has said here. I can totally understand the staff being at breaking point. The weather was atrocious. A few attendees were nightmares, and with everyone packed into a tight venue with abrasive staff and limited seating, I can imagine everyone was feeling like crap. Yeah, that's pretty much how it was. Also, bearing in mind with the seating, I will get to that in a bit. But on the last event, on the last day, you basically walked into some stuff that happened at Furcation 2024 regarding the venue and how they operated around the event. There's a lot I'm being very careful with, because there's certain details I don't want to end up giving out just for my sake, and because there's some stuff which I'm not really in the position to say. The stuff that's like common knowledge and that's out there is fine, but there is some stuff that I don't want to say, just in case it's something that's been blown out of proportion, or just something that turns out to be something completely different from what was said in the first place. But there was quite a lot of people still around at the venue, like waiting for the road to die down, and the shutters on the bar were just closing. The Nicer Local was shut. I wanted to get a few bits in there, but they didn't open. The shutters, like they were stopped taking orders for hot drinks. I wanted to get a bit of hot chocolate before going, but that wasn't the case. But given the shutters going on the bars, despite a handful of people already being there, and it wasn't even like dead on a specific time, I saw what was going on, and I thought, I knew there was a possibility that something was going on, and I knew there was a possibility that there is a good chance that Furcation isn't going to be welcome back to this venue. So the arcade was good, which was also actually, that was the other thing. So the arcade, it was supposed to be open, and there was an agreement with Furcation and the company behind the holiday park. It was in their contract that the arcade would be open. That was closed throughout the whole entire weekend, which was a damn shame. Maybe because they couldn't find the staff, or they just weren't prepared for what the hell was going on. In fact, in fairness, because the thing you've got to bear in mind, with a convention or an event, if it's a first year con, or if it's a convention or event that's moved into a new venue, the thing you've got to bear in mind is the venue doesn't know the crowd, and the crowd doesn't know the venue, and the crowd, in this case, being the hotel management and hotel staff. So it can be quite. So if you are going to a new venue with a, if you have an event, whether you started up a new event, or whether you have started up, or whether you have gone where you've if it's an already existing event that's gone to a new venue, that's where some slight pressure does tend to mount on you and its attendees. So I would, because whenever I'm whenever I'm at a first year con or a con that's moved to a new venue, there is a slight bit of pressure. But I'm a very modest type of person, so I will always be respectful of any wishes or demands that go on. But with this venue, the fact that the arcade was supposed to be open in the contract and it wasn't, which was a real damn shame. Also, going back to, because Dennis mentioned something about seating, so there was a thing that went on when what was it was coming? Yeah, so the vacation staff couldn't do. I forget when it was, but it was very very close. I think it was like a few weeks before the venue was actually. They've been trying to contact with the venue to try and arrange a meeting, a rec to try and check the place out properly for the first time, and the company behind it just weren't getting back to them. They were inconsistent in terms of actually trying to arrange a date. And it wasn't until like a few weeks. And one thing they found out was vacation staff were not allowed to move the chairs. And this was due to a health and safety thing that was going on. So in a nutshell, it sucked. In terms of when you're talking about venue operations, yes, it did suck. And I think some described it as one of the worst venues. Oh no, my screen's gone off. Oh no, that's sorry. My screensaver has just come on, and I'm just trying to get it off. Bear with me, guys. Oh come on, don't do this now. Okay, right. I have no idea why it does this. Right, I'm gonna have to. Right, where's my cursor? So I'll just have to try and I'll put meld into full screen, and hopefully that saves anything. Well, there's a hand. There's my hand. So, technically, I have shown my hands. So, hello to Damien. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm just trying to figure out where the hell my cursor has gone. Okay, let's just try. Okay, this stylus is absolutely ridiculous. Try to go full screen for meld. Okay, so hopefully that's worked out. Right, I need to find a stylus that's actually responsive. Sorry, disregard that. I just clicked on that by accident, so to just hover that over. Okay, so hopefully that's got the stream back under control. Okay, so we're trying to pick up. I kind of lost my train of thought. So basically, when it comes to overall venue operations, there's a hair sticking on the. Is there? I can't quite see it. Where's the hair? Is it? Are you sure about that? Because I can't quite see if there's a hair. There's a hair sticking on the camera. I can't quite. Okay, I do kind of see it. I don't know if I'll be able to take it off though. Is it gone? Okay, no, it's still there. Still quite. Sorry, chat. I just got the. The bottom left of the lens. So maybe if I just try pressing let me just try stroking the. Okay, is it still in shot? That dexterity. Maybe we should save this for an update. No. It's I can still carry on with the stream another time, but I can still carry on the stream now because it probably won't be a while until I but anyway, stuff not bad. Oh yeah, that was it. So there was a weird thing going on where vacation staff were not allowed to move the chairs for some health and safety thing that was going on. Why exactly, I don't know. That properly never came into light. But yeah, it was very awkward for vacation staff. And from what I've read, they weren't also allowed to have theatre style seating, which was a bit ridiculous. But when I tell you what, when I first got back from when I started arriving back at home. Also, I just accidentally covered my synthesizer. I haven't really had that on show, so let's just. But when I was driving back home, and even though I did what I normally like have a music playing, I had a music playlist set up for driving to cons and events and driving back home from cons and events. This one, on the other hand, was a bit. I felt a bit weird driving back from vacation that year, and mainly it was because of everything that went on with the venue. And as soon as I arrived home and started unpacking, I had this. I don't know. I just had this funny feeling inside that something was going to happen. And lo and behold, the next day, that ended up being the case. And for question. Although, funny enough, actually, there is I do actually have something. In fact, bear with me, because there is a very interesting metaphor that was on the vacation. Shall I go and get it? It's in my wardrobe. It's quite easy access. But when I arrived, like the day after I arrived back home from vacation, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I saw a statement from vacation, basically saying that they were not being welcome back at the. That they were not being welcome back to the 2024 venue, despite the fact that this next part wasn't actually in the statement. But Vacation were actually in a 2-year contract with that particular venue, and given the amount of shit that went down, some people were saying that they were not gonna go back to Vacation if it were in that venue, which I can completely understand. But it was a But I know I shouldn't really be saying stuff like this, but not being welcome back to that venue ended up being a blessing, because there was so much that went wrong on that venue's part, and it was just inexcusable. And it was it's times like this, and it's subjects like this, where I do have to measure my words extremely carefully, because I don't want to end up saying the wrong thing. I don't want to end up saying something that isn't 100% confirmed, and I don't want to end up saying something that's been blown out of proportion. But all I will say is that anything that's the irony of the con being Tales of Terror, with the worry that that was going to be the last vacation, I will go get. I'll just hop out my chair so I can get it from my wardrobe. Just bear with me. So where is? So it's somewhere. Yeah, this is also a thing that I've done. So I don't really want to open my door, but because there's a few identifiable characteristics in there. But where's the fucking? There it is. Hopefully I can get it off of the hook. Okay, this is it. So I'll just sit back in my chair so I can show it to you. I won't. So I'll probably sit like that because I'll have to get back up again. So the irony of it being. So the thing that I was worried was going to be a manifestation for come was that the image that was on the actual badge of the event, I don't think the camera is going to be able to focus any well, but all I will do is just hold this up to the camera so you can see for yourself. So can you make out what that is? So it's hang on, let's try and see. So if you can't work out what that is, that's a gravestone, which I was so scared for the event that it was a grim foreshadowing, because this being a gravestone, I was so scared that this would mean the end of a vacation, but thankfully it wasn't, and I will explain my piece as to why I'm glad that's not the case. But here, let me just hang this back in my wardrobe, because otherwise I'll just forget to do it later on. Bear with me. Super curl. Maybe that customer I made a. Bear with me. I'm just gonna hang this. Just gonna hang this back in my wardrobe. Also, you can see the fact that of all the years that I've been a dog, it's taken me only today just to wear tight whites. Is that? Oh no, that's the microphone getting away. Maybe I'll stand up a little bit, but I'll just get this back on the hook. So that back on. Okay, that'll have to do. It's back on there. So I'll just get myself back on the chair. Let me raise my tail up so it's a little bit easier to sit on. So that's. Would you consider making a VTube? But I'll get Cascade. I'll get to that in a little bit because there is something. It's funny you say that because I'll touch up on that because the thing I was saying with Furcation is I was worried that Furcation were going to have a difficult time bouncing back after everything that happened. And even though there have been some recent controversies, stuff I won't comment on because I know some of the people associated with that. The thing is that given the high demand of events we have in the UK right now, we cannot afford to lose Furcation, regardless of what people may think of the event itself. It's a major backbone in the UK furry community because of how high. Because look at ScotiaCon, for example. Like Confuzzled is for the 2026 was the 4th year where Confuzzled has been a sellout convention, and because of Confuzzled being a sellout convention, it's been a bigger burden on ScotiaCon because ever since then, ScotiaCon has now grown at such an exponential rate that it's actually quite terrifying. So I remember the first year ScotiaCon went to the Crown Plaza in 2022, that had something in the range of 500 and something attendees. 2023 had 993. 2024 has just over 1,001. Just over 1,100, sorry. 2025 had over 1,600. ScotiaCon 2026 had in the range of 2,400 attendees, and that really shows how high demand for events are in this country. And look at is anyone actually going to Abericon? Abericon that's happening in Wales in August. I'm going there for the first time, and I have actually been in talks with the AV team because I could be DJing there hopefully on Sunday night. But Abericon, that's sold out within 3 hours. So it's both the blow up in conventions is both exciting and inviting. Yeah, but I'm going to Abericon, so Dennis is going. Let's just see what Cascade said. Hang on. Unfortunately, no, but I still don't have a car and passport. It would be exciting though. Oh yeah, because Boomer's in the States, if I remember correctly. So I made a game where you look to the SPC assigned your badge number. I think ScotiaCon might have done something very similar to that. So Cascade said something about being a VTuber. So I will go back to what I was talking about earlier. But while Cascade has mentioned that, one of the things I was in talks with. So Sammy, who did, I've duplicated this scene. So I'll show up the piece. Hopefully it should. Okay, so it's actually behind the. Is it showing up or is it? Hang on, what's happened there? Let's try. Ah, there we go. So this piece that was done by Sammy. I have actually been in talks with him, ask if it was possible to get a VTube avatar done, because I was saying to him how I would love to have one in his art style, and he said that he was the piece which was supposed to be temporary. So you will definitely notice this from my previous streams when I'm gaming, but that piece was supposed to be temporary. But I've been so long overdue trying to get an avatar done. I have got someone in mind for that. But with Sammy, I was messaging him about this and linked him to a tutorial, asking him if this was something he'd be able to do. And he said potentially, but he'd need to do some experimenting first. So I might get back to him on that at some point. Hopefully that'll be the case. Also, speaking of pieces by Sammy, so I'll just get that off. So hopefully this shows up okay on the stream. But Sammy was also responsible for my all-time favourite arts piece, and I'll just get it on the screen now. there it is. Oh, pointing in the wrong direction. There it is. So this is coming up to 3 years where I first commissioned this piece. I still to this day love it so much, and it still remains to me very close to my heart, and the all-time favourite art piece that I've ever commissioned from anyone. It was actually it was actually based on the superhero outfit that you may have seen. So I basically
make sure to keep him strong by feeding him lots of
we've had a new follower, so I can't quite see this. So it's Psychoman 359. I couldn't quite see the text very well because of how white it was over the piece stream. But thank you so much for the follow. Hello and thank you. It's been about 4 years since Super Costuming has been shown correct. So the first time I actually properly, well, I sort of showed off something where it was just basically, I was using a towel as a cape and I had the underwear and I had the shoes in August. But it wasn't until 2023 where I got a cape made. I made my own eye mask. And things just went on from there. But by the way, I am actually writing a book based on this outfit, so it's very hard as well because trying to get story and substance together. So I'm gonna go now. Take care, Harry. Okay, good luck with the cons over there. Thank you so much, Cascade, and thank you for tuning in. So I'll leave that hidden for now. But that to me still is my all-time favourite art piece. But VTube will. A book? What kind? So it's a. Let me just get my cursor back to the where it should be. Just put a bit more pressure on that. Okay, don't you dare. Okay, right. I was scared it was going to do something then. But basically, it's a it's a fiction. So what I'm writing is a fictional storybook. So it's a story about how a town I live in already has a superhero. He's already tired. He's so tired of being the superhero since he first arrived in the town from day one. And he secretly plots so that there's two notorious criminals at the start of the story who rob banks, who commit aggravated assaults. And he swears, he premeditates this thing where if somebody catches them before he does, whoever does becomes the new superhero and defender of the city. So there's a bit of a funny story about how the costume itself, how the outfit actually plays. So one of the roommates that I live with puts sleeping tablets in my drink, and because we were supposed to go to a party the night before. So this is just for context for anyone that's just walking in. This is part of the book, by the way. So none of this actually happened. This is entirely fictional. So I wake up, I get slipped into a blue superhero like spandex costume with the IMAX, the cape, and the whole spandex outfit. And so I leave the party for a bit. I end up going to a convenience store, and these two notorious criminals walk in. The outfit was very tight, so when I start I don't really want to spoil too much, but as soon as the whole entire costume starts ripping because of how tight it is, and deep down inside because of how much rage I was filled with by these two criminals making fun of my outfit. So I thought, screw it, just rip the whole thing off and just throw it to the ground, and that reveals the super cool superhero. In fact, let me just get the piece back up. So I've not actually thought this through. So if I go back to the piece so let's just say I'm in this tight spandex outfit, so I rip it off, I throw it to the ground, truly revealing this that's underneath, and then I grab these two criminals by the throat, throw them out the window, and they end up being paralysed from me throwing through the window on the ground. And that's all I really want to say, because I don't want to spoil too much. But from that moment on, I end up being taken to where the current hero lives, and we need a live action recreation. Shall we do this? Shall we do it at a con sometime? The problem is it's just resources, because there's not really it's like time and resources that's the big issue for me. But one of it could maybe an animation of it could be on the table at some point. But with this book that I'm writing, I don't want it to be like, I want it to be a thing that everybody can enjoy. But because the thing is, when you're writing books, especially some books that could potentially appeal to kids, is you've got to make it something that the adults can enjoy as well. And I'm pretty sure I did a badge for that in 2023 for Confuzzled. I know where that is. Hang on a minute. Just bear with me. It's somewhere in here. Is it? Okay. Sorry, my jaw. I'll have to come around this way because my jaw's a bit of a mess. Bear with me. I hope it's. Is it in here? Well, I need to rearrange this drawer because there's so much stuff in here. There's like. Where is it? It's. Okay, it's. Okay, there's the eye mask. The cape is somewhere in here. It's so. Right, I need to rearrange this drawer because it's definitely somewhere in here. Where is it? I can't see it. Okay, it was somewhere around this area. It's like, found it. I'm gonna have to. Oh my god, where is it? I can't see it. Oh my god, yes! I found it! Oh my god, my jaw's a mess, but right, I'm gonna have to worry about all of that later. Well, there's something in there that I'm not sure. So, I found it! So this was it. This was what, this was the out. So, it fell down. What? Get into superhero uniform. Oh my god, I would be here. The process behind that is it's not going to happen during this stream, but maybe there is a future stream where Super Cole could take over. But yeah, this is it. I don't know how well you'll be able to see with the light. I'll try and get the lighting. But yeah, this was the piece that this was the surprise piece that Dennis did for me at Confuzzled one year. I was so worried. I knew it was in that drawer. Drawers are great for catching clutter. There is a lot of clutter above the drawers, so I will get onto that at some point. But yeah, that was the piece that Dennis was referring to, and he gave this to me at Confuzzled. So yeah, a little bit. So I'm really thankful for that. So really appreciate Dennis for that. Hang on, bear with me while I just go and put this back in the drawer. Just go there. Right, that drawer needs. Also, I thought I'd show this while I've looked at it. So I was after one of these for years. I can't quite take it out of the packet because I should have put it on. In fact, maybe I could. I don't really want to rip the bag though because of the chip. So I got one of these. If you can't quite see what this is, I'll probably wear this at some point in a future stream, maybe during one of my DDR streams. But I managed to get a Illumi Cyberwear visor. So you're all giving away secret identity. Am I though? These are not. But yeah, I was after one of these for years, and I never got round to ordering one. And they're actually they're actually at a really good price. So it's only £50 for this visor. I was expecting to pay like 5 times the price for that, but when I saw that they were dealing at Confuzzled last month, I thought I'm not gonna not pass on the opportunity. So I bought one, and I'm really glad I did in the end. I love this thing so much. As much as I want to show it off on stream right now, I can't. But there are photos. Hang on a minute. So let's just see what Tanuko says. I saw something about. Hang on. Oops. Let's try. Oh. Now when can we get light up undies? They do exist. There are some companies that do make them. But in terms of washing underwear that's got LED flex tube in them, so let's see. It's okay. So we got. I have a swirly visor, very good. So I need to find the right size tool to replace my batteries, though. So I've got They're actually kind enough to include a hex key with the. But sometimes, from what I found, is some people who do include wrenches and hex keys, is that hello. Let me just. I'll just see the first time chat. So yeah, so it's Hang on a minute. What's it? How's it going, Harry? I swear I'm actually a stream myself. I was wondering if you and me could do a duo stream at some time. Doesn't have to be a long one. Could work on it as it's just chatting and podcasting with me, asking you a few interviews. My time, given how my time is, I am collaboration streams are not something I've really considered. That's something that I will need to give some thought. I got also badges in here. Let's just see. Sorry. Yeah, I misplaced my. Have you ever volunteered? I can't. Funny enough, I was crew for one convention, and that was just for the weekend. So I saw Dennis mention something about that in the chat. So just for the weekend, because of how thing is, it was quite close to me. It was only about 45 minutes away from my house, and it was okay. Just for the weekend, 2016 was my first ever furry convention, and it's hard to process that has now been 10 years. And funny enough, I was there at the convention, and I was wondering where the hell would I be in 10 years' time from there. And this answers the question. Here I am. But with just for the weekends, let's just see what's better. Just throwing our RGB strip in the tighty whities. I think washing them would be an absolute nightmare, and trying to find something around that would work. There is there's an idea that pops into my head, but I think that might be dangerous. I miss it. Seth! Hello, Seth. Thank you so much for tuning in. Right in as we were talking about just for the weekend. The thing about just kicking a fan underneath my table is just... So, the thing about just for the weekend is I really, really, really miss that convention. And it's one of the things that didn't survive the COVID pandemic, unfortunately, because with how close it was to my house, and the fact that con was my first year convention, it will always be a convention. No matter how long we go without that convention, it still remains very, very close to my heart. And it's been hard to process when the date arrived. The fact that it was 10 years since the first one. But yeah, I do really miss that convention. And I think the sad thing is that Jeff D, okay, the company Just for the Weekend UK Limited, they unfortunately dissolved in June of 2025. So the company dissolved over a year ago. The sad thing is, we needed that convention now more than ever, because I do wonder, given the current climate that we have now, Just for the Weekend, I have no doubt, would have done very, 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 very well. Because Jeff D really peaked in 2017, because that's where it had the more, let's see, HarryCon when... Oh my god, I do not have it in me to run a convention. Do you know, it's funny to me. It's like, we need more conventions. Is there anyone willing to run them? Nope. So that's I do appreciate anyone that does have it in them to run a convention, though, because look, we need more of them. There's no doubt. Ideally, apart from December and January, it would be good to have one major one every month in the UK. I was speaking to Q the other day about Just Vegan. He says he's open to maybe reopening again. Or yeah, funny enough, I was in talks with him, because he was chatting to me about not Just for the Weekend, but doing something slightly similar, but something that's kind of more dance focused. There's not a huge amount I want to talk, but it would be great if something like that does end up starting up. Because we would need this now more than ever, because it would help take a huge weight off of the likes of Confuzzled, ScotiaCon, Furcation, because they're at the moment the big three in terms of major events we have in the UK. Blitz. We're gonna be doing that all night. But I did send. I haven't checked my Telegram, so I'm not quite sure if you did see the if you have seen the video yet. The funny thing with Just for the Weekend was that 2016, that was my first ever con, and I was already doing Furmeet videos prior, so this was my first time getting videos of a convention. The staff and crew really loved what I did with what I captured at that convention, so much so that I was invited to be a crew member as part of the videography team, and it was getting a yellow lanyard. It did feel like quite an honour, because it did feel like that my work was getting recognised. Like I'd only just attended my first convention, and my work, the stuff that I've done for the convention, got immediately recognised. So I ended up doing a lot of events, videos for the team. I did a lot of editing for the convention. I got to know about so much stuff that goes on in the creative departments that no one else outside, not even like other con staff, would ever typically see. So I got lots of exclusives going on behind the scenes, and it was amazing to see like the amount of creative work that gets poured into a convention itself. But yeah, and the amazing thing is, because part of me would like to be a yellow lanyard again, but it's just that at the same time I kind of go to conventions to escape and relax from the big bagged things in this terrible world. And I will admit, because with Just for the Weekends, there were times, because fire alarms unfortunately were sort of like an annual thing. They were happening like once at that convention since 2017, and it did knock my confidence and kind of increased my anxiety, especially with the alarms that were around that hotel at the time. But I did say, because what I was saying, because given that the fact that they went off in 2017, 2018 and 2019, I was saying to some of the people on creative, why can't people just leave the fire alarms alone? Well, it's funny you think, because the complete opposite would happen if they are left alone, because there are certain ways that alarm systems have to be set in order, if you're using stuff like smoke, haze, whether it be body temperature, room temperature. So alarms can be...
Make sure to keep it strong by feeding him lots of butterflies.
Rover, it's coming up a bit funny, but Rovert E Husky. I'm guessing that's supposed to say Rover the Husky, but text. But thank you so much for the follow, and thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome. But yeah, because with let's see. Well, the fire alarm went off just because they were all in. Okay, actually, no, that was ruled out. So when I can confirm that there was some vape used in that room at the time of the panel, and what was annoying was the person who was using it was sat right underneath the smoke detectors. So despite that happened, because they saw that was triggering the alarm panel. And they saw, because the hotel staff actually came into the panel room and were asking, "Were you vaping in here?" And I don't even know why they denied it, because they did it, because some were denying it, but they were doing it right in front of everybody. It's just like
make sure to keep it strong by feeding him lots of butterflies.
Bonnie, am I pronouncing that right, Bonnie? Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for the follow. Oh my god, that alert! That's going to raise so many questions. But thank you for the follow. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome. So this is not a thing that I wouldn't normally do a stream like this, but this is just for, okay, I need to get a few video bits. I need to send a few things to a couple of people, and I just thought, while I'm doing this, I thought, let's give this a whirl. So given how well this has actually gone down, maybe this could be a thing that pops up every now and then. Not so much a regular thing, but it could be a thing that that might make the odd appearance every now and then. We all must. So there's a lot going on in chat. So the thing is, Aki's panel was actually ruled out of the alarms going off. I was chatting to some of the welfare team about what could have caused it, and there was actually a lot of wood burning in residential areas that were in close proximity to the hotel. So that was a possibility. Because if it was Aki's panel, I was in that room, and if that was the case, it would have happened immediately. But I wasn't actually in there at the time the alarms went off. So, funny story of how it happened. So, there was a guy who sat next to me, and he kept heckling. He kept like heckling Aki, and just spouting this ridiculous nonsense from Muhammad. And then they joked about RMFC, which was now defunct because of political issues that were going on into the fight. I mean, it was I don't really want to reveal too much because I don't really like getting political, but there was a lot of far-right extremism and neo-Nazi sympathisers. Some were even neo-Nazis themselves associated with the convention. So RMFC ended up being defunct, and in came Denver. So when they joked about that, the person said something like those, RMFC is dead, good riddance, and then proceeded to say like, and then you've got Rainforest Baby First Scum, which given what they were spouting sat next to me, I ended up leaving the panel because I just felt so uncomfortable because I couldn't sit next to anywhere else. The room was full to the brim, and I could not actually stand up anywhere else. So I ended up leaving the room because I did not want to be sat next to that, and I didn't want people to think that I'm okay with this, that I'm okay with this complete and utter nonsense just being spouted out and just constantly heckling the person trying to run the panel. It's like, I have too much of a moral high ground to be tolerating behaviour like that. So I went to go and explore. By the time the alarms went off, I was actually at the dances, and the weird thing is, this might have been before regulation stepped in, because as soon as alarms are triggered, it's supposed to set off, it's supposed to cut out power so that the alarms can be heard. Weirdly, with the Holiday Inn at the time, it didn't do that. So I just about heard something, and I was just like, "Wait, is that an alarm?" I thought, "Oh no!" And let's just say on the night that happened, my anxiety really, really didn't do me any favors because of the noise. I have history with alarms that sound like that, and there's a reason why. Because of those alarms, I will not ever stay in the standard rooms in the Hilton Birmingham Metropole ever again because of what's in the rooms. But basically, I had a lot of welfare. I had to go into welfare. They saw some of the social media posts that I made, so I had to be called into welfare. I was given copious amounts of bottled water to try and calm me down. The welfare team were absolutely fantastic. I cannot give them any more high praise for helping me get through how atrocious my anxiety just caused me to die. But the thing with that being is because that's what really affected my videography abilities with that convention. And I was saying to some of the creative team that if the fire alarm goes off at Jeff D 20, because Jeff D was the nickname we had for it, for those who don't know. So JFDW, Jeff D, I thought I'd just explain that just in case people are lost on that. But I was saying that if the fire alarm goes off at this convention, I will step down as a videographer for this convention, but I don't want to leave the creative team. If I am okay with that, I would like to stay on the creative department as maybe a director of videography, if that were the case. But that was for 2020, and we all know what happened then. And funny enough, when it was getting closer, by the time the first lockdown came along, and before that, we were edging closer and closer and closer to the convention potentially actually going through, despite the fact that it was declared by the World Health Organization as a global pandemic. But yeah, it's sad because, and that's what really. Okay, Jeff D, they were trying, because after the pandemic and when restrictions were eased, Jeff D were at least trying to pick the convention up back off its toes. But because of how unsure certain restrictions were at the time, and the fact that the hotel was being used to house asylum seekers, which meant that because of the contract agreements at the time to house refugees, they just for the weekend were simply not able to take the convention back to the hotel. I did ask them if they had other venues in mind, and there was one that they did consider, but unfortunately you are not able, because of the fact that where main stage would be, it's not even on the ground floor, it's up on the first floor, and Carl Fox, who has done main stage for conventions, one of the co-chairs of ScotiaCon as well, he said, there is absolutely no way you are going to have a main stage if you take just for the weekend to this hotel, because with it being on the first floor, it's just going to be a logistical impossibility. So given everything that happened with the hotel, contractual agreements, and some of the directors wanted to start families, the other directors didn't have any momentum in them to get the convention going again. So, unfortunately, just for the weekend, as of June 2025, is defunct, which I am very, very sad about. Let's just see what. How's Pawsome going? So I can only speak for the first two events. Pawsome, I went into this when I did the first year. I went into it knowing full well what to expect, knowing that some people were not going to be the type of people that I would typically gel with. There was certain kinks at that event, because Pawsome is a very kink friendly. In fact, it's probably the first of its kind in terms of very convention wise in the UK. But so many people were bracing that convention to be the UK equivalent of Rainforest. But actually, I can safely say, speaking from first-hand experience, that was not the case. There was actually a lot of grace and decorum at that convention, probably because of the high price tag. It stops those who shouldn't allow. Let's face it, there are some people who shouldn't be allowed to afford to go to a convention, and some people have proved that. I've wanted to go, but found out this year at ScotiaCon I have a latex actually. Yeah, they're quite open with latex at Pawsome, but it's not just like during the day; it's at specific times. But with Pawsome, however, I've as much as I have enjoyed the first two conventions, I've decided to skip out on Pawsome for this year and probably for future years to come, because I can't see myself going back to Pawsome until the foreseeable future. The only reason for that being, however, is purely because the first 2 years, they've been sellout years, and demands for the event has proven to be high. And the sole reason for me not going to Pawsome this year is purely because I want someone who I know will enjoy the convention more than I will to go. So I want to allow somebody who will enjoy it more than I will to go. That's it. Nothing else. Because despite the amount of downtime, whether it be between events, the fact that you had to have dinner at specific times, the hotel was not serving food outside of those particular times. They did it in 2024, which was weird, but in 2025 is you had to have food at a very specific time, which I thought was a bit strange. And I think because Danza was actually mentioning something to me about it, because Danza was there as a dealer for 2024, not as a full-on attendee. So he was telling me about the weird way the hotel operated when it came to food. And with the amount of downtime, it did feel a lot like that. It felt like you're just waiting for the next thing to happen. Because I remember, in fact, because I don't really know a huge amount of people that go to Pawsome, because when it comes to people who I know that do go, it tends to be quite limited. That's fair, but at least you gave it a go. Yeah, because I am somebody who's willing to give everything a try every now and then. But now that I'm glad I did the first two, because it was quite an eye opener, and it allowed me to open my eyes and get a better understanding of certain groups and certain communities that I didn't really get a good, or I had a poor understanding of previously. So Pawsome is actually doing very good for those communities. So it's not just catering to furries, it's catering to pups, drones, latex, rubber, ABDL, which I know is a very grey area, but I'm not really like ABDL is not something that I am a huge fan of, but given the people that I have been around at that convention, I have sort of got to understand it a bit more, if that makes sense. Yeah, I kind of don't really want to hit not clothing, but I have through other personal means. I thought the reaction was normal. Yeah, I respect and understand. Okay, respect and understand. I respect and understand ABT. Yeah, I'm pretty much I am pretty much on the same boat as them. Like, it's not my scene, but I do completely understand what people see in it and why people do it and why they are involved in this community. I have got it has allowed me to get a better understanding of these people specifically. So that's one good thing that Paulson is actually doing. I do wish them all the very best of luck with the 2026 convention. But if Paulson does want to grow and succeed, I think they're going to have a lot of difficulty doing that in that particular hotel, because the hotel where it's held at, the only reason why they've went there, it's the only reason why they went to that particular hotel in Gloucester. It's quite, and thankfully it's quite in a nice secluded area, so it's not quite near any towns or anything. So it's not quite out in the open where you've got people like members of the public walking past. It's quite enclosed, and you had to be like a registered attendee to be on site. But in terms of how the convention operates, I do wish them the very best of luck, but I am starting to feel that at some point they are going to need to consider a bigger venue. But they are managing with what they've got and where they're at just fine. I can completely sympathise with them wanting to stay at that hotel. I completely understand that. So I do wish them all the very best of luck in that aspect. So was it? Mine is something Tanuko said something about. Mine developed over time. I used to really enjoy wearing it, but eventually it started giving skin irritation, then breathing issues, so I had to stop using it. Oh damn! I think, yeah, that's really really super unfortunate. So I was like, I didn't know about as well. Damn, that's never fun to hear. Where you enjoy something, and then something medically stops you from doing it. I've kind of been I've been in slightly similar situations, but it's Harry, have you ever given latex a go? So latex is not something that I've considered. Latex is not something that if I had access to it, maybe I would give it a whirl, but it's not something that I would consider. It's not something that I would consider buying and owning. In fact, just bear with me, chat. I just want to check the time because I haven't had food yet, and I am starting to get a little bit dehydrated. I am wondering how, because of everything that I've done today, I am wondering how long I can continue the stream for. Just bear with me. I just want to go check out what the time is. It's actually, I could have asked you. Oh man. Okay, so I have not. So I'll give it. I'll give the stream a few more minutes, but I have not eaten all. I have not actually eaten all day, and I really need to go and get something to eat. So, so at some point, maybe give it a couple of minutes, and I am going to have to end the stream there because I need to eat. I am getting a little bit tired, and I do want to get some fluids as well, which would be nice. Have you tried silicone? So silicone, funny enough, because on the topic of silicone, I do work with silicone. Because of some of the stuff that I partially do for a living and as a hobby. I won't go into public detail because I don't have my furry side publicly tied to that. So I don't want to reveal too much characteristics about that. Yeah, at some point I will have to end the stream. Hopefully not too abruptly, but I will need to. I did drink Lucozade Sport, which has actually been keeping me going. It has been helping with my stamina and my tolerance. Oh yeah, hydration, that would be good. I need to like a hydration in my room for stuff like this. But in terms of how much longer I can go on for, now purely for the sake of my health, do I actually leave the stream right here? Do I get myself something to eat? Because I am kind of pushing myself a little bit. In fact, an hour and a half has actually been good. It's actually been good, right? That's good. It's a conveniently large jaw. Do you know what's funny? Because if I had bottled water, I could just like ram it down my throat and then okay. I have to be careful with the hand gestures there in case I do. So At the rate things are going at, I am. You know what? I don't want to end the stream right there, but given the fact that I haven't eaten, I need to hydrate. I don't want it to be too late when I eat. I don't really have a choice at this rate. So, what I will do is, because it's a bit complicated on the phone, I'll see if I can raid via my. I just bear with me. It's easier if I do this on the It's easier if I do this on the phone. But let's check and see. I should be able to. I should be able to raid via the phone. Okay, that's not the right passcode. So right, let's where's the Twitch app? So bear with me, guys. I just need to sort of give it a shot. It's good. So my head's a little bit all over the place. So let's just see who's. Oh no, I've got 13 viewers. Not okay, so TK Worth, I've not raided yet. So I'll see if I can do this. Let's see if I can access the chat. Right, okay, so let's try. Right, so I'm going to raid you out with TK Worth because I've not actually raided him yet. But I just hopefully this works via the phone. Is it? Will it not? Okay, yeah, that works. So send some love over to TK Worth, and okay, yeah, I've raided the right person in the end. So I'll have to leave you at that. I'm sorry to end the stream so abruptly. But I need to because I'm starting to push myself a little bit. It's getting quite hot in the room. Huskies are not bred for extremely hot climate. I just want to say a big thank you for everybody for tuning into this stream. Thank you for making it what it is. Thank you all so much for making, because without you guys, this stream would be absolutely nothing. But I'll see if I can get my my cursor. Oh, come on, why are you not doing it now? All right, so. Right, so I've got my finger over the cursor, or this rather. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all, lots of love to you. Hopefully it won't be too long until I can do another one of these, maybe during the winter, or the autumn when the weather's a lot colder. But thank you all so much. Goodbye, I love you all. Mwah. Okay, why aren't you ending? Okay, come on. Oh no! Why isn't it ending? Is it doing it? Has it ended?